All right, we're here with Colorado's best attorney, Phil Harding, in this sponsored segment. All right, Phil, this is going to be a fun one today. We're talking about myths under the law, both civil and criminal, right?
We are. And in the criminal one, we're going to talk about one that actually we were talking about earlier,
yes,
right? That happened to me before I went to law school. It's
yeah, we'll talk about that coming up.
Yeah.
What about phone calls? When you talk about civil issues, are phone calls admissible, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, so let's look at all these myths. Maybe we can pop them up. But let's talk. And remember, this is only in Colorado. So phone calls, right? Number one, phone calls. Can you record a phone call? The answer is here in Colorado, only one person needs to know about it. So you and I are talking on the phone. You can record that phone call and don't have to tell me about it. Like California.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, California's known as a two-party state, so both people need to know. And let me tell you, so if you and I are talking on the phone and someone else is recording it, that's illegal because it's not you or me that's in the phone call.
Oh, it's a third party.
Yeah, to do that.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. So I want to tell you an exception here. An attorney, me as an attorney, I cannot record a phone call unless I let you know, even though I'm here in Colorado. It's considered unethical for an attorney.
Okay, well, that's good to know. What about this one? What about things that are in writing versus not in writing?
Yeah, I hear a lot of times, what if a contract, does it need to be in writing to be enforceable? And the answer is no, it does not, right? But there are 5 exceptions. Can you think of what one of them is?
I'm guessing circumstances like maybe a will.
Yes, a will. And so you remember my legs, right? This is what you learn in law school, my legs. So marriage, but here in Colorado, there's common law marriage, but generally it's marriage. The Y is a year. So if I hire you, I'm like, Chris, I want you to be my guide on 14ers for 2 years, right?
Okay.
That wouldn't apply. L, well, let's go to G. G is goods, right? E is the one that we just talked about, the estate.
Yeah, the estate.
Yeah, and then L, I just don't remember, but I will. We'll come back to that.
It's good.
Right.
They're there, though.
That's
if we
right.
Need them.
There's 5, so look it up.
What else we got on the list? So most cases go to trial. I'm guessing they don't.
They don't.
Because they get settled.
Yeah, so let's talk about the cases that come into me. About 1 out of 20, I actually have to file a lawsuit on. Of the ones that I file a lawsuit on, you're required to go to a mediation, right? And you can't discuss that at trial. That, and it's about 1 out of 10 actually goes to trial. All right.
That's really interesting. Okay, so we got car accident myths.
Yeah.
The other side can take a statement immediately.
Yeah. And this happens all the time. You're in a car accident or hurt on the property of another. If the other side adjuster calls you and says, we're at fault, I want you to know under Colorado law, it's illegal. Yep, it's illegal for them to call you within 15 days, but they do it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, and so if they try to use that at trial, it's excluded. The next one, the other side can settle with you on a personal injury claim. Again, same statute, subheading. They can't even offer to settle this case within 30 days. It's because you don't know the extent of your injuries.
Right, you got to wait and get those analyzed. Let's get into the criminal before we run out of time. And I do want to talk about reading your rights.
Miranda rights. Yeah. So there are 2 requirements on Miranda. Number 1, that you're in custody, and number 2, there's a question asked to you by a governmental official. So here's the example. If a cop comes up to you and says, hey, what's going on? And you answer, he doesn't have to read you your rights.
Oh, because you've already spoken.
Well, no, because you're not in custody.
Okay.
So if you're free to leave, Miranda doesn't apply. Oh. Let's say you're in the back of a police car and the cop doesn't say anything and you just start going, oh, I'm so guilty, I'm sorry I did that. They don't have to do that. The next thing.
One more. We have time for one more.
Okay.
And that's the one that you and I talked about earlier. If a police officer pulls you over, doesn't have the lights on, is that legal?
Well, this happened to me before law school.
You only go 1 over the speed limit, though.
Yeah, right. It was a 4-pointer. I'm like, you can't give me a ticket, and the cop just rolled his eyes. I went to trial with it. The judge is like, no, he doesn't have to have his lights on to give you a ticket. Just like some people think CSP has to have their hat on to be able to give you a ticket.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't apply.
Always do what they say. Don't ever resist.
So 100%, yeah. I mean, when they come up, if you put your hands on the dashboard or on the steering wheel, just be polite. More likely, they're not going to write you.
All right, Phil. Always great talking with you. And these are the things you got to know. That's why you hire Phil. So to reach Harding & Associates directly, you can call them 303-762-9500. You can get a free consultation anytime, and you can find Phil online at hlaw.com. Thanks again to Phil for sponsoring this segment.